The way we're looking Arsenal, man, have to shout me as a free agent, man. Yeah. And with that being said, people, Deluded, I'm back again. How we doing, people? If you're on Twitch, one love. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. Now, Arsenal fans, obviously, you know, every week that presents itself, there's another injury at the club. I'm sure, you know, you lot have plenty of opinions on our season to date, and definitely after drawing against Aston Villa. Is it a point gained or is it 2 points dropped? What does that mean for the Premier League race in you lot's opinion? 12 points dropped. You can see it in the title because that's the number of points we have dropped from winning positions. Now, and we're still linked with Cunha and all this stuff. Me personally, people, I think it's well documented, literally, because you can see the videos on YouTube, how I feel about Arsenal this season, how I felt about the Aston Villa game. And I'm pretty sure, like, if I scheduled it correctly, there should have been a video that dropped on my channel just before this. So, yeah, check that out after this. Should take you to that. So, yeah, me personally, I don't want to hear my own thoughts, man. I would want to hear you lot's thoughts. So make sure we're smashing like buttons. We're doing all of that kind of stuff, people. And as usual, big up yourself. It's like what boy says here, man. Like, for me, bro, you're bang on the money, man. Already comment on the live stream. The summer keeps on biting us. It does, man. Like, for me, it's a thing of, I think I said this in the video. I think I said this in the video in a sense of, it's what ifs. It's what if we brought in a striker and a winger and a centre mid and just had the amount of, you know, a stronger squad. What if we didn't drop 12 points from winning positions? What if we put the ball in the back of the net and controlled the controllables that we can control? What if the controllables that we can't control, which has been the case at several decisions, dodgy refereeing? Now, I do think Arsenal fans, yeah, listen, our football club's never going to be like. Nobody cares. That's why I don't give a flying monkeys for any goal that should or shouldn't have stood in the North London derby or anything anyone else is going through. To a degree, you do get decisions for you. You do get decisions that go against you. I'm not going to sit here and lie as an Arsenal fan. It looks evidently that we are reffed another way. But I do think Arsenal fans, some take it to the extreme, to the point where when we have legitimate concerns and there's legitimate conversations to be had about inconsistent refereeing and all of that, we're not taking in, man. Shout out yourself, Riley. Big up yourself. We can't still be linked with Cunha. Carrot Scaler was cheaper. Bro, I hear you. KK, it's gone now, innit? Maybe if PSG wake up and want to sell him, it is what it is. With Cunha, we all know the backdrop. Wolves obviously want to keep him. There's new contracts being talked about. There's a bit of games playing being done there. So, yeah, I agree with that. The summer comes back to bite us, and I get it. We tried. We did this. We did that. I'd like to think I'm a fairly balanced Arsenal fan. I don't sit here and just say everything's rubbish or everything's amazing. I think there's certain things that are good, certain things that are bad. And I just think we've got a good core, or we've come a long way. Yeah, like we've come back from back-to-back 8th. All the statistics that are positive are there. And you've got all of this. And it just feels like a little push, maximizing the small margins and all of that they talk about. They're not doing it. So obviously there's an element of stagnation, and I just think it's either incompetence, complacency, or naivety, or all of those and a bit more, man. And ultimately it's these players and the manager that will, obviously us as fans, but it's you lot that have been playing in the season. It's you lot that will feel like failures in May, and unfortunately it's become all too familiar to have some good moments of a season, some better moments of a season, but ultimately empty-handed. Now I hope, you know, that we can turn it around against Newcastle. It don't look good having to go to St. James's Park in the League Cup and overcome that deficit. The FA Cup is done. We'll try to win it next year. The Premier League, I hope we win it. It would be the best Premier League campaign I've seen if we somehow overcome it. And on the face of it, yeah, Liverpool, in my opinion, head and shoulders above everyone. Got 6 points, which isn't the biggest of gap. But even though I don't think Liverpool are spotless and faultless. They are head and shoulders above everyone else, so they've got a margin of error. I hope that we go on a run and they collapse and whatnot. You look at the end of the season, people, we've got to go to Southampton and St Mary's, which we're always nervous about that ground. We've got to welcome Newcastle at our place, and we've got to go to Anfield. So you could see maybe if the footballing gods love an underdog story. I personally feel if you've watched the movie Mighty Ducks, or if you've watched the movie Coach Carter and you see how it starts and ends, I think that's on brand with where we are at this moment. I blame the owners for not wanting to spend big cash now that Champions League secure. There you have it. I feel the owners don't want to be winners like that. I do think when Mikel Arteta's had money to spend, I don't feel he's always done the right thing. I like Moreno. I think Moreno's cool for the squad, but we finished 2 points off City. We needed difference makers. Like if you imagined Arsenal's strongest 11, yeah, and let's just assume it's in midfield, it's Odegaard, Partey, and Rice. You needed someone that, if Rice and Partey are messing about, they really got to look over their shoulder. I don't think Moreno was that. I'm personally happy with Calafiori signing, but I can understand fans that say, why did you buy another left back? Obviously, you know, we knew Lewis Skelly was about and part of the squad, and we heard rumblings that Arteta sees him as an inverted fullback, but no one could have predicted, you know, rightly so, he's because of his form, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. And the striker thing, I think it was naive. You know, Kai Havertz got like 13, 14 Premier League goals last season, but he did it for half a year, really. I'm not criticizing Havertz. It's just naive to expect a man to do that for 38 games. To a degree, I think you have to judge men on what they are, and I do think when Arteta's had money, he's taken guys that could be good squad players and try and make them regulars. And we have good moments in the season. We drop points, we do all of that, but we're always left short-handed, man. So, yeah, it's just our madness. It's a mixed bag where the football club's concerned for me personally. Big up you lot. Hey, appreciate the super chat, my guy. I wish there was something around the super chat for me to comment on, but you're always here. I see you in the comments. You actually say a lot of positives in the comments, so big up you, man. As far as I can see, we are in a really bad place. We need to be perfect from now on to win the Premier League. And Ryan, I don't necessarily think we're in a bad place, like bad, but I think it is all collapsed at the moment. And fundamentally, what you said there, you need to be perfect. And are we perfect over 90 minutes from what Mikel Arteta and the players want, let alone results? Because as much as I'm being harsh, 12 points drop, there are obviously things you can quantify. We've had 10 men and all of that. But in May, that doesn't matter. It's how many games you've won, lost, drawn. That's how the story is written. No one remembers second place. And to a degree, I'm not saying I want to finish below second place if we don't win the title or whatever, but does it, we know it matters, but does it really matter? If you don't win the league, especially for a team that's trying to win the league like City, like Arsenal, I don't know if Liverpool was saying they want to win a league in the summer, but variables are falling for them to have an opportunity of taking it. Does it really matter if you didn't win it? Because if we are the best team in 2024 and Arteta is this manager and this player and that, at some point it has to correlate. And as I said, I think certain people make out everything is Mikel Arteta's fault. And I think some make out Mikel Arteta can do no wrong. Like I see the comments in my videos half the time. Like it doesn't make sense to me. But I always say I don't tell people what to think, just think. And I think there's many valid fans that look at it with a balanced headspace, and they've decided for themselves, Mikel Arteta isn't the guy. Mikel Arteta isn't the guy. Arteta is the guy. That's fair play. But it is what it is. That Havertz handball, I blame Moreno. Terrible shot. I mean, if we're looking at Moreno, I think that's a naive way of looking at it. But if we're looking at Moreno to score goals and we're complaining about Kai, boy, I think we've made... You look at the back end of... the back end of 2023 turned into 2024, we were saying the same things. It feels like we're doing the same things and we're hoping for something to change. And for me, that is an extremely naive way of going about things, people. It's like you're never going to see much there, man. Pardon me. So it is what it is. Moreno feels like a winter signing, one of those emergency ones. If we signed Zubamendi in the summer and Moreno, or that midfielder we all want, and Moreno, I think people look at him differently. I do think people are very harsh on Moreno, but I would say for me, Moreno, I need to see a tiny bit more personality from you. And you're not the quickest, are you? No one can shoot in our team. Look at Odegaard. I'll never look at Martin Odegaard to be a goal scorer per se. I don't think that's a strength of his. But I think since the start of the season, whether I believe that or not, Odegaard, you're technically exquisite. You're a good player. And I think there's been too many times where, not just you, half the team, like Broski, half the team, where you should be putting the ball in the back of the net. And that's why I mean, like, yeah, like for me, I could tell, like, let's just say we're playing on Friday, right? Because it's Monday. fast forward this week, because it's Monday, and big up you lot, yeah. Fast forward this week, I have complete faith in the boys that they will start the game, have the other team penned in, moving it left and right. Like, they start well, having some shots and things like that. So I'm saying that to say this: it feels like we can plan, but when things are going left or we need to do things, we get ourselves in a bit of an issue. And I'm not gonna lie, the Aston Villa game shows an evident lack of game management. If you want to be a Premier League winner, you have to win that. You have to. You can talk about referee and all of this kind of stuff, just like against Brighton. And I'm not saying it's not valid points, but Aston Villa should have been put to the sword 3-4-0 in the first 20 minutes. Anytime you don't kill a team, you open it up like this. If you're not going to score all of those goals, fair enough. You have to manage the game well. And for me, once it becomes 2-1, everyone in that squad, especially Arteta, I don't know why you're bringing on Sterling in the 82nd minute. Once it becomes 2-1, I'm looking at my players where the vast majority of your experience to say, you know what, boys, we shouldn't be in this. We know 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline. We know 2-1 is a very dangerous scoreline. Let's manage the game properly. Ultimately, we didn't. You gave Villa an opportunity and they took it, really. So I do think some Arsenal fans can be dishonest. Like, they do the woe is me thing, waffling about a ref and things like that, which I'm not saying is an invalid point. But control the controllables. Even against Brighton, should have been put to bed in the first half. At worst, we're crying about us not having a clean sheet, or we're crying about Havertz's goal not standing. And this is what I mean. For me, it comes back to the summer. You need a cold-hearted killer. You need somebody that can match Saka's numbers on the left and right, or even fucking 50% of that. And then you look at midfield, we're making 6s, 8s. There's a whole heap of injuries, which you need depth. A lot of the things that we're crying about as Arsenal fans, they're self-inflicted, man. Sterling was the only attacker on the bench. Sterling in 2025. It's mad. It is mad. And that's our fault. Yeah, we can cry about injuries, but these things happen. And again, you see how we're seeing a madness with injuries this season, yeah? Let's just assume we get to May now. That season's done. We get to the start of next season. We can't guarantee anything. We're just football fans. But can we guarantee that our team will learn these mistakes and say, you know what? We saw what happened when Saka gets injured. Make sure there's cover. We saw what happened when you're relying on Kai Havertz, and he's actually got more goals than a lot of his teammates, which shows the problem. Make sure that's not the issue. You've lost Saliba now, which we're going to get into all of that. You've lost Saliba. You've lost Gabriel. Calafiori, not sure what's going on there. I reckon Timbers had to play a lot more than they would have banked on. Benjamin White's obviously had surgery. Rice has broken his toe. Partey's been relatively injury-free, but he's also had a knock. Odegaard, I can't even remember if he had a concussion or whatever. Like, there's been bare injuries to the point where you actually have to sit there and think, like, who hasn't been injured? But injuries happen. It's part and parcel of the game. I just want to know if we're in this scenario, like if the same kind of season panned out next season on the injury front, are we going to have adequate cover? I can't guarantee that, because I don't think we learned this summer. I don't think we learned from our mistakes of the last 2 years. So I can't be surprised that the same thing's happening. It doesn't make it any less disappointing. Gabriel should be our captain. He's more of a leader than Odegaard. As far as I'm concerned, the defense is allowed to fail. I don't want them to fail, but even the defenders needed to be a centre-back. A striker coming that forces wins out of draws. I hear what you're basically saying. You've said it in a mad way, but like, you've got less energy for the defenders. But for me, I think collectively as a team, not just the defense, I think we've dropped off a standard. And you're right, defenders have been bailing us out. It's one thing to be talking about traditional defending. It's another thing for them putting the ball in the back of the net. Like, I can't be surprised, man. And obviously Saka, Ethan and Jesus is gone. People gas. Do you mean guess or gas? People guess our set piece play, but people haven't realized we're conceding goals from set pieces. Our set piece coach isn't as special as people think. Pardon me. It is. There's a lot of what it is the theme now, man. Like, I've accepted it now. Like, it's the hope that kills, man. It's the hope that kills, man. As far as I can see, we're in a really bad place. We need to be perfect from now to win the Prem, which is, there you have it, man. Now it's on the owners. Arteta was not happy with the bench. And I hear that. Arteta can't be happy. Even I think with Arteta now, I don't know if it's a rally cry, but he's being kind of a lot more. It's almost like he's issuing an SOS and a help me to the Cronkies in the way he's talking. But at the same time, he said and I know it's not like this, but as a naive fan, he said they're the best owners. We're always talking. We're at. And even who was it against? It might have been the North London derby. It might have been before that. It might have been after that. Football's moving quickly. But Declan Rice, who didn't criticize the club or anything, He said the other day, like, oh, we're having to bring Tini at left on the left hand side, so we're kind of short in terms of numbers. And the players are not idiots, they can see it. Arteta can see it. I would just say my issue with Arteta is, did you manage the little budget you had in the summer, if it was a little budget, in the right way? Sporting directors or whatever, did you lot veto stuff that Arteta was doing if we had to work with a limited budget? All of you, did you get the players in that gets us closer to getting over the line? No, we finished 2 points off City. Complacency from everyone, man. Everyone, man. Sesko better be on loan. It's a myth. It's a myth if you think you're getting them guys there on loan, man. It doesn't make no sense for Leipzig to be doing that. Like, it don't. DG need to defend Jess. Big up, Riley. DG need to defend Jess. Defend Jess with what? What happened there? I'm not sure on that. Northside cooks Jess. Listen, big up Northside, big up Jess. Got time for both of them. Don't know what's going on over there. That's them lot's business. I ain't no one's hero. I ain't defended no one. Ain't nobody sitting there defending DG if I get into shenanigans. Arsenal fans, Arsenal content creators, love them. You know, all of what I would say is just blessings, man. Whether you're, you know, an Arteta apologist or Arteta can do no, right? Everyone just get on, man. Respect each other and just keep it moving, man. I'm not involved in none of that. I don't know what's going on there, man. Our man asking the next man to defend it. Oh, hey, I'll be man, but yeah, nothing to do, bro. I don't know about none of that. Like, that's it, them lot thing, man. I got time for both of them, man. I'm here to talk about football. One thing about me, I don't like to do this whole gossip thing with all the YouTubers and all them shenanigans. I'm not here for none of that. 8 draws this season, 6 games party at right back, and 1 win against Southampton. Arteta is to blame for some, but mostly just fed up of the board, clearly not wanting to splash and get over the line. I do hear that, yeah. I hear that, but at the same time, yeah, I ain't got no cape on my back. At the same time, yeah, even though you're right, but this is why I think it's multifaceted, because since 2018, man have spent peas, bro. Like, I'd understand it if the Cronky sat there and said, you know what, you lot can get onto us, but us, we don't know football. You see what we do in the NBA and NFL and actually at Arsenal. We get people, rightly or wrongly, our thing is we get people in place. We leave them to their devices. We've done that with NBA. We've done that with NFL. They've won stuff. Mikel Arteta has finished second twice. We've given him 700 million. Even if we forget that and focus on the last 3 years or even the last 2 years, including now, are we the reason he hasn't? He hasn't done anything because we've given him money. He just keeps buying left backs and goalkeepers. And I'm not even saying any of this is wrong. Just being devil's advocate. Keeps buying defenders. Keeps buying goalkeepers. Signs 100 million midfielder, makes him try to do something else, signs someone that's good for the squad, but not necessarily a level raiser where you finish 2 points of City. It don't really make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. You can't just blame the Cronkies, in my opinion. Like, you can't, man. Yeah, I can't get dragged into nothing. Is top 4 in the League Cup a good season? Not for me. Well, I mean, I guess it would be a good season considering the context now, but I wouldn't call it that because I want the Premier League champs. What I would say is it's a salvage, isn't it? It's just you salvage something like from where we are now. Which again, the way I do think us Arsenal fans speak, we do speak like we're 8th and everything's going terribly. Like this is why I'm even more frustrated because we're actually second. There are some positive statistics. There's a good base. We all know the players that need to cut, what we need to bring in, how we go to the next level. And on the footballing field from Mikel Arteta, tactically, the things that we need to change or whatever. Like, this is why it's frustrating, man. It's the hope that kills. So, yeah, if they can get a day out at Wembley, a trophy's a trophy, innit? Like, and Arteta needs to scumbag a couple of trophies. I'll be real. Since we won the League Cup, we definitely didn't. Since we won the FA Cup, I don't think we've played well enough in domestic trophies. Like, when last did we touch a semi-finals in the League Cup? And again, for Mikel Arteta and the players, you lot, and I'm not saying this, but just me as a fan that reads and somewhat buys into that, doesn't buy into a lot of things, but some things you lot say, I buy into it. It's like you lot, there's a lot of lip service, man. You lot talk about in relishing pressure and maximizing this. And for me, I must admit, the one thing that annoys me about Mikel Arteta is, off the back of last season, there's been a lot of talk about small margins and fine margins, and we've seen games go against us. I haven't seen us try and be on. We're never on the right side of them small margins. We're never. The last time we was probably on that was probably, I reckon, Aston Villa at their place. If we had Chelsea's owners, we'd win the league. Not necessarily because could you imagine Arteta with the money being spent here? He might do madness. Jess would have had an easier time with Northside if she just accepted our attackers are dead food. Arteta still coached them to a 90-plus goal season. I mean, he did coach us to a 90-plus goal season, but this is why I told people not to get excited because that 90-plus season came off the back of where we got 80-odd. So on one hand, there's an improvement. Goals were shed around. Different ways of playing. All of that stuff is valid. You know, in the likes of Saka, another season of consistency, right? But on the other hand, and it's not me just trying to break things down. I'm seeing bare goals from set pieces, which I don't care what rival fans have to say. I love the fact that we do that. But it's a thing where, cool, get the set piece goals on lock. What are you doing from open play? We know about them issues. When you break down our goal scorers, again, we all know Bukayo Saka is the only run from August until May is going to do it for the majority of the season. The Trossards, the Havertzes, all of these guys, you know, Gabriel Magalhaes is going to chip in from set pieces. But all of these guys, on the face of it, they might have strong goal scoring returns come the end of the season, but they go through little purple patches and things like that, in which you can't really afford to have if you want to be a team that wins a title. In relation to Jessa Northside, hey, listen, take that over there, man. I'll take Cesc Fabregas as our next manager. Is he in a rush to leave Como? Because it looks like Como are spending money. I'm sure he's an owner there, and they're getting some players there, man. Arsenal needs strikers badly. If I could wake up tomorrow and we've got an inside forward and a striker, I'd be a much happier man. Arsenal fans speak with so much weight on how these seasons have gone because there's no expectation that we'll stay up there. Some people are just happy to be part of it. Top 4 in the League Cup is a Spurs dream season. We are not that. Can't be chasing league leaders to be happy with battling fourth. That's regression. This season's 100% regression. Like, what improvements have there been this year? On a serious note, and I'm not trying to, like, what improvements? Because for me, and I'm not trying to get at Arteta, praise Arteta, get at the players or whatever. I'm seeing us dropping more points from winning positions than we have. I'm seeing with my eyes, I don't care what the statistics for clean sheets and all of that jazz. With my eyes, the whole team has dropped off a cliff defensively. That's actually something that really pains me because last season, like a striker's job isn't necessarily to defend, but I'm seeing strikers putting in a shift, clearing things off lines. I'm seeing, and that's been allergic to Arsenal at the Emirates. I'm seeing people really want to defend, keep the high standards. A man might make a mistake, his teammate might bail him out, and then he lets his teammate know exactly what he thinks. We've dropped off a cliff. Too many cheap goals. The 2 against Aston Villa. Partey's not a right back, so I have to allow him, but man are switching off. The one before that, man are switching off. Football's decided in both ends. We're seeing the same things week in, week out. And it's got to the point where the players are professional players, international players. You need to put the ball in the back of the net. But none of you are goal scorers. So we're going to see the same thing on repeat. People can keep lying to themselves and saying we should have won. We had however many shots. How many clear-cut chances do we create week in, week out, game in, game out? Not many for all the shots, and half of it's our defenders. Then you have 2-3 clear-cut chances, and it's the same players that are not bad players, but you can't put them and clinical in the same sentence, unable to score. We were saying that maybe not so much on a frequent basis, but we were saying that last season. We do a lot of talk about fine margins and closing the gap, and every game's a cup final, and you have to manage games well, and football's a 90-minute game. It's not good enough to be superb for 20 minutes. It's not good enough to be good for 70 minutes. You have to be the best team for the majority of that 90. And I think against Brighton, we should have killed it in the first half. That's my thoughts. I think against Aston Villa, that game should have not only been managed better in the second half, should have killed any sort of hope they had. And even when you break down that Aston Villa game, it shows we've got good game management. But again, in terms of being a Premier League winner, we have not. We threw that away in 8 minutes. You scored the second goal in the 55th minute. You conceded by the 60th. And then Arteta, I think you've crumbled as well. Let's keep it 100. I think you've crumbled. I don't rate Sterling like that. But what's a man meant to do in 8 minutes? Realistically, what is a man meant to do in 8 minutes? And the players, some of you are moaning with the referees, head in your lap and the game's still going on. You lot are not showing me the mentality of champions. So we're going to keep having these conversations. Martin Odegaard is not captain. Look at what Conte is getting out of the dead Napoli side. I must admit, even me, I'm jealous of just the way they're playing, of the Liverpools, of the Fulhams, of the Nottingham Forests. Brighton, big them up for the United game. Like, I know we've got injuries and a lot of these guys have better attackers, but when you watch their games over 90 minutes and they've rotated players in and out and whatever, player for player, are they really, manager for manager, are they really head and shoulders above us? Really? So why are they playing some saucy football? I'm seeing their players buying into stuff. I'm not saying our players aren't buying into stuff. I'm simply saying my players, you look a bit disillusioned. You don't know whether to stick or twist. You're on it for 20 minutes and then you're not on it. We're getting back to that old Arsenal where last season and the season before, regardless of how it ended, I'm seeing everyone want to be a protagonist and make a difference. Now I'm seeing everybody look towards someone else. For a team that's been fighting for 3 years, including now for a title, big up Ethan prior to his injury. Lewis Skelly's been in this first team for about 2 minutes. Why does he look cut from the cloth of what I demand than some of you lot that have been part of this, that have won stuff, that have played X amount of Premier League appearances, made as many caps as you've done for your countries? Some of you have won big trophies, you know, international level trophies and the rest of it, European trophies at other clubs. Why am I not seeing this? And unfortunately, Arteta, I'm not saying it's all to blame, but I come from the school of thought that good or bad, everything's manager's fault and everything's a reflection of the manager. That doesn't mean we can't break down things, but those of you that understand football get where I'm going. I refuse to believe of all strikers Arteta chose Havertz 100%. This is all on Edu. I disagree, because we got to remember we failed upwards with Kai Havertz. He brought him to play as centre mid. Arteta is not blameless. You've had so many cracks at fixing that left 8, where as much as I love Xhaka and I definitely miss him, it's not like it's Xavi, says Fabregas. None of the 8s that we have seen past Xhaka are levels with him. Xhaka is a real centre mid. Whatever you say about him, he knows how to dictate the tempo, pass the ball forward. He can do a bit of everything. Rice's strengths are not in the middle and final third necessarily. Moreno's is the same. Kai Havertz is great off the ball. Anytime you're talking about a centre midfielder whose strengths are off the ball and running in behind, you're not that good with a ball. And I'm not even trying to criticize Kai, because for me, you got to accept what you got to accept. There's no excuse that whether it's Arteta, whether it's Edu, whoever is involved, there's no attackers. And even Arteta's attackers ratio, it's not the best. Like, out of all the ones that Mikel Arteta has signed, who is actually the best one he signed? I'm not, like I said, like, we're a family people. We're talking about Arsenal. Who? It probably Trossard. Value for money, I reckon it's Trossard. You could actually say Kai. I don't necessarily believe that, but I think it's Trossard. For what you spent and what he's done, probably Trossard. You could maybe say Odegaard has become the captain, but I'm trying to focus on the front three, left wing, right wing, up front. Who? We could be silly and talk about Marquinhos. We know that's one of those development signings, but like, who? Here's what it is. City about 6 points behind. They're coming for that second spot. No signings, only rumours at Arsenal. We urgently need a perfect striker to increase attacking options, but this circus only brought a midfield player. So then they're going to have to hold it, because, again, whether there was no money or not, as a naive fan, when that window shut in the summer, you told me that when we're at our best, we have enough. When we're at our worst and there's injuries and worst case scenario, we have enough. You're going to have to live or die by that. And I have said, when it comes to injuries, I've said this before, when it comes to injuries, I've got great sympathy for our Arsenal fans, actually the players who have to play. I don't for Arsenal Footballing Club and Mikel Arteta, because we've seen this story before. Maybe not to this level, but we've seen this story before. Big up yourself, my dude. At what point does he have to coach his way out of this? He's already wasted so much. Well, he has to coach his way out of it now, like, because unless you work for Arsenal and there's something going on in the back burners, it doesn't seem like there's any new players. You've got to get everything you can out. Some of it, I believe, is down to mentality, and the players need to wake up, because you lot want to fight for a league title. You lot are trying to fight a near perfect Liverpool side. When you find yourself at 2-1 in the lead against Villa, against a very informed team who's actually away form's poor, you have to walk away 3 points. And this kind of period, you'll have disappointed beyond the obvious and all the contexts and ramifications of winning, losing, and drawing. As a fan, just based on me watching my boys out there, I've been very disappointed with everyone. Mikel Arteta, everybody, with the exception of Lewis Skelly, Gabriel, and all of them. But we're not doing that because you're all in this together. Look how we've played at the Emirates in these last 3-4 games or whatever. United, game management, kill the game. They're down to 10 men, kill the game. I'm not even vexed at you for the penalties, because that's the luck of the draw. That's gambling at that point. My thing is, how did it get to that? What was going on there? Newcastle, semi-finals, and what is a realistic chance of a trophy? What happened there? Cool, you smashed up Spurs. Again, Spurs are shit. Pardon my language. It's nice to banter their fans, keep them in their place, all of that jazz. You beat them. You should be beating them. Even with our problems, you should be moving to Spurs. But even within that game, It's the same thing I saw against Aston Villa and to a degree Fulham. We started well, dominate, got them penned in their own half. What has become a theme of the last few games, teams get one opportunity, two opportunities, they put it in the back of the net. We get a million, don't take them. Aston Villa, first half, great. First 5 minutes of the second half, great. But once again, football's a 90-minute game, you know. You saw it. And there's obviously nuances behind it, but in May, how many get wins? How many losses? How many draws? Winners win and the losers explain, and it feels like game in, game out, week in, week out. There's a lot of explaining to do. Jarring, man. One love for the super chat again, my boy. It means the world, man. Love from Amsterdam. I think, honestly, we got to demand a lot more as fans as well. Issue is we're the only club that takes everything slow. I hear you, and you're not wrong, but what can fans do? Yeah, we can scream, we can shout, protest, this, that, and the other. And I'm all for how you want to express yourself, go express yourself, do what you want to do, behave how you want to behave, conduct yourself how you want to conduct. But the club has, when we done that during darker times, when we was eighth and all of these sort of things, and there was nothing to be positive about, survived. So what is it now? Because the fan base is not united. You speak to 10 Arsenal fans, 5 are going to feel very strongly that Arteta isn't the guy, or the Cronkies are not the guy. There's the next 5 that there's a cult-like following. And then the next 10 are people like me and you, people where there's a lot to be positive about, or there's some positives, there's a lot to be negative about. You're quite unsure. And yeah. So I don't know for the unique thing, man. Big up DG. We got slapped by Brighton, Munich. I know the feeling. We lost at home too. Technically, we ain't lose. We ain't lose to Brighton. You got shot on by the Seagulls, and I was watching the highlights. You lot got sourced. Champions League is impossible, man. Kids said we'll get to the Champions League final. Who's kids? Kieran Tierney. When did he say that? And if he did say that, why would you say that, man? Just working, training. I hope the footballing gods allow us, but we're not going to win the Champions League on a jammy thing like the 2 times Chelsea did it, or, you know, when Man United beat Chelsea, big up John Terry for slipping, racist twat. We're not going to, Liverpool coming from 3-0. I'm not even belittling anything, but coming back from 3-0 down against AC Milan. We don't get that kind of luck. It feels like for my club, you have to be perfect, innit? And I would love the Champions League, man, but it's a pipe dream at best. Bro, the number of draws you've had this season, they're like losses. It is, and they've been bitter pills to swallow, because maybe I'm wrong, but there hasn't been too many times it's like we've been 1 goal down, 89th minute, we've equalized, and you could say that's a point gained, right? It's always been like last minute sucker punches. Well, not last minute, but I feel Villa sucker punch, Fulham away. That was a point game, but I feel it was a sucker punch when they scored. Manchester City, probably one of the times I give the club a bit of courtesy this year. Manchester City at the Etihad, Liverpool at the Emirates, like one wonders. And these are the fine margins, man. I hope he's right. Big up Big Six Bank. I hope he's right if we get to the Champions League final or with it. But boy, you're gonna need Saka back for that. I had us down to win the Champions League if we got the major signings now, Gyökeres and Willian type signings. For me, it's about mentality. And that goes for me. When obviously a lot needs to happen on the transfer front, but for me, it's about mentality. I think we have a good mentality, but I don't think it's great. I don't think it's winners mentality. And I'm talking about the players, the manager, the owners, even the damn fans. Because some fans flip-flop. You demand excellence. You start the season saying the gloves are off. We have to close the margins. And then there's every fucking excuse under the sun as to why we're not ever. You speak to some Arsenal fans that apologize for everything, and you just get bare paragraphs as to why certain things are not happening. And then you get those that, you know, everyone's rubbish, get everyone out of the club. I'm not on that. I think a lot of people need to go. I think the club needs to change, but it's not going to. So it is what it is. Seeing a stat that we're the worst team in progressing through the middle, do you get how mad that is? We are, because I need to find a video. There's a video on it. I think when you look at Mikel Arteta, he wants to threaten from wide areas, and indirectly, when you look at the way we press and the way we set up, especially in wide areas, it's to stop the opposition's transitions. But it comes at a cost. We're not penetrating through central areas. Even though I don't think Odegaard is in any great form, the creative burden on one man is never going to... Anytime I hear the creative burden is on one man, you're in problems. And unfortunately, there's not enough players, I feel, that show me the level of consistency that I need. if that makes sense. And I'm not even trying to get at the players. Like, it's a handful of players. Lewis Skelly, you've shown me the 2 minutes you've been part of the first team that you're on what I'm on. Gabriel Magalhaes, you're on what I'm on. Saliba, you're on what I'm on. I don't think Raya's perfect, but there's a million problems before, man. Look at Raya. Timber, you're on what I'm on. Benjamin White, you're on what I'm on. Calafiori ain't shown me enough, but I think I can work with you. It's mainly just the defenders. Rice, I think you're cut from this cloth. Partey, I think you can do something. Odegaard, I need more. Saka, you're obviously part of this. Ethan as well. Odegaard, I need more. Partey for that defend, whether you're right back or not, I need more. And from everybody else, I just need more. Even the players I listed, I need more. I need more from everybody. Because not one single footballer at this club, of course, I could, if I had to nominate players of the season for me so far, I would say young Lewis Skelly's got a shout. I think Gabriel's got a shout. I think Saliba's got a shout. I think Partey's got a shout. I think Timber's got a shout. But I need more from everyone because that doesn't mean anything. The mentality is failing because there isn't enough talent in the attack to uplift it. Needs signings constantly. You need signings, but it's a no, I disagree with that part. You need mentality. Because again, we're doing this weird thing as Arsenal, as a football club, where we're having 1 million shots, 4 shots might be on target, we score 2 goals, see it through. Talent has nothing to do with you being 2 goals up with half an hour left and not seeing that through, not making sure you get 3 points. It's got nothing to do with Liverpool. Don't know whether to stick or twist. You're gambling. When you do the one time in the night you want to gamble, Trent's done what he does. Salah's put in the back of the net. Talent's got nothing to do with that. The whole team needs to step up, man. If there's a single player, Saka's got a shout for being player of the season as well. If there's a single player who could look me in my eyes and say, from not that they ever would, from August to now, they can't have done any better, fair enough, then you really should be going playing for Real Madrid. But there's not. Everyone can do better. We're in this together. I'm not on this. These guys were good, them ones were bad. Because what does that mean? If 2 players across the 11 starters were good, what does that mean for the other however many? We need winners in our team, no winning mentality. We have winners. We need winning mentality. We've got winners. Kai Havertz is a Champions League winner. Moreno is a winner. He's won stuff with Spain and with Sociedad. Declan Rice has lifted a European European trophy for West Ham. What are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here? Saka's won an FA Cup. Fair enough, he was a juvie, but you've done that. Jorginho's won things. Like, Zinchenko's won things. Jesus has won things. There's man that are there that have won stuff. You need the mentality now for me. And it comes to getting it over the line. Just get it over the line. It's very nice at this football club. I'm not saying they don't want to win, but it's very nice. There's no more to give, DG. The league is a hostile entity that has studied our systems. Teams know how our attack works. Teams know how our defense works. Then there's a lot more to give then. Rework the system. Rework the system. Manage games better. A lot of you need to go to shooting practice. Yes, I agree in that. I do feel to a degree beyond all of that, bro. Man, just need better players. Just need a couple of players with stardust. Because that was the language that came out of, the Ornsteins, the mouthpieces when we went out to Bayern Munich, and that was abundantly clear. That's why I don't think we can win Champions League, because for me, Champions League is about margins, bro. You look at, obviously, beyond the obvious, we are not Real Madrid. But how many times in the last few years have we seen Real Madrid win not only the Champions League final, but like the semis, the quarters, the crunch times? How many times across those 2 legs were they the best team across 90 minutes? They weren't. Bayern Munich across the 2 legs can't say for both games across 90 minutes they were the best team. But when you get them chances, boom, bang, gone. Boy, I'm not trying to have Saka playing in the 10. I'm not going to lie to you. Partey's one man of one stuff. One stuff, bro. So it's a mentality. For me, better players, mentality. And to a degree, it does feel like, and again, check out the video I posted earlier. For me, it feels like we try and reinvent the wheel as a football club. Sometimes you can learn from other people where it comes to winning stuff. And for me, with Mikel Arteta, that's my caveat with you. We're trying to do it in a naive way with having Kai Havertz up front, which, no disrespect to Kai, is not a goal scorer. And Arteta, I don't get it, because you've worked for City. You've seen beyond talent. You've seen what you need to do to win a Premier League title several times over. People can go, Scottish League, etc. You've got playing experience. You've won a league title with Rangers. Of course, I'm sure if Arteta lifted the lid and said, you know what, I hear that, DG, and you can criticize me, but I know I've spent money. I know I shouldn't have bought Moreno. I went for Calafiori. I know I've made mistakes, but I did ask the club for a striker, for a winger. They didn't make it happen. I might look at it different, but I can't be in the he say, she say stuff. I'm not a fly on the wall at London Coley. I can only look at what Arteta Edu when he was here, the Cronkies, the players, everything you've said, and I just want to see it correlate on a match day. That's it. That's it. Because you know what, we could be in the same situation we are now, but if the evident areas that we're crying out for, if these things were addressed, I could say, you know what, we go again. But I think these things are cop outs. Yeah, man. City in February is gonna be dark, man. They're on another planet, bro. But yeah, of course, you've got Vinicius Jr. and all of these guys, but they've also got. I've seen Ceballos, Asensio when he was there, Lucas Vasquez, guys that are not necessarily world-class players. So yes, Real Madrid's an extreme example. Look at Newcastle at home. Maybe not so much recently. You lot have got to. You lot have. They've got to want to win more than they've want to be alive, and I don't see that. I'm not seeing us react to adversity well enough. Again, at 2-1, what's going on? We're having good game plans, and you know, when you look at the stats and that, we've done all right. But it's about those fine margins, and Arteta keeps talking about it. Keeps talking about the final meters, the final third. Ultimately, goals win games. If you're not going to score enough goals, the rare times you do score enough goals, make sure you don't concede. It's a shame, man. It's a shame, man. Do you think City will finish above us? Pardon me, all possibilities on the table. Gyökeres and Kudus would have been so nice. Remember when we linked with Mbappe? You're dreaming. Kroenkes have more than back to Arteta. Salute DG. Arteta ain't the guy for me. Arteta out. And for me, I like Arteta. I think there's a lot of goods with you, but I don't think you've earned my respect's not the right word, but quote unquote respect to be back religiously. I think you've done a lot of good. I'm not necessarily at that point of, yo, get him out, get him out, get him out. But if you left, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I don't think you've got there yet. And I do think he's invented his own issues. I don't think you can just sit here and just blame the Cronkies. I don't think you can just sit here and blame the players or Arteta. Of course, you could distribute blame points where you want, but we're in this. The fact City are in this position despite losing like 7 in a row is mad. And this is why Liverpool are laughing, because I don't think Liverpool are perfect, but they're way more perfect than everyone else. Again, guys like Hosselu and that, it's a mentality thing. Because we've spent money, whether we spent it the right way or any of this jazz, bro, we've spent money. Some of these things that I'm waffling about shouldn't be here, man. Shouldn't be here. Especially the mentality thing. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I'm not seeing players haunted by the past of how it felt to go out of the Champions League to Bayern Munich, or the last day of the season against Everton where you knew Everton weren't getting nothing against City, or how it collapsed in the 2022-23 season. I do think you want to win. I'm not naive. I do think you care, all of that stuff, but I don't see it. I don't see you lot wanting to achieve victory, and victory in everything, being the best we can be in both ends of the pitch, in midfield, making a difference when things go wrong. Too many times I'm not seeing it left out there. I'll be real. I'm not seeing it left out there. And that's where I start to get hurt as a fan. We don't have no divine right to win no trophies, you know. But the one divine right you have is to give the best account of yourselves. And you lot are cheating yourselves time and time again. And it's you lot, as in the players, it's you lot in May who's going to see all them other teams celebrate and think coulda, woulda, shoulda. Some of you will leave this club one day and win trophies. Some of you, I genuinely believe, will win some trophies here, whether that's the ones I want or not, it's another thing. Some of you will never be in a scenario like this again. Seize your moments. Mentality spot on. Arteta has to do better to get the players to man up. His interviews, too many excuses, not the best leadership. By example, Odegaard goes, Gabriel should be the captain. To be fair, though, as much as I've kind of went heavy on Arteta, the players as well, at the end of the day, you lot are big enough, old enough, ugly enough. Some of you are dads and that. Fix up. Fix up. Because I'm pretty sure with how we've been, like, I'm sure if we was in the dressing room, we would look at it differently. You must have bollocked each other. But that's the way I am. This is meant to be a family thing. You lot go to war with each other so we can go to war against the world. And a proper 9 will make it a lot easier, but then I wouldn't complain because I think we'd have more points on the board. But at the same time, something needs to be done in terms of creating from central areas. Because what if that striker has the off day? We would turn a lot more of these draws. I don't think we would have dropped 12 points from winning positions and whatever. But the off day, the striker has a bit like what we've seen with the guys at the moment. Bro, we're going to be talking about the same things. If Arteta needs to cut, he needs to cut. Like, I'm not going to defend him. If you think that Arteta hasn't shown me enough to back him blindly, and I can understand why people want him gone. I would say the reality is the man ain't going nowhere because before a ball was kicked, he signed a new deal. Arsenal are not going to give him a new deal in August and then pay up that compensation package and then go find the next one because the next manager as well, bearing in mind, it feels to a degree they've committed so much to Arteta, it's too far to turn back now. Smash the like button, people. Don't forget. They're not going to tear it all up because what if the new manager comes in and says, yeah, I hear that. Declan Rice signing for 100 million. Don't give a fuck about that. Don't want him. Kai Havertz, 65 million, one of your highest earners. Don't care about that. Don't want him. What happens then? Because you're going to have to go through this. And I'm not saying that as a reason to keep Arteta. I'm saying that I don't see our club doing that. I do think a next manager, as much as I feel you have to overcomplicate things as a manager, I think another manager at this point where it's time to simplify probably does. And a lot of these talking points I'm talking about probably wouldn't be here. Maybe another manager gets at least one more Premier League victory last season, and then there's trophy parades in May. But it's all coulda, woulda, shoulda, man. If you can't get up for a title race, you don't deserve to be in this team. And even salvage your season, you know. Salvage it. Because you don't know, I don't think Liverpool Arsenal players are going into every game thinking, oh, we've got to win because Liverpool or Arsenal, whatever. But you know indirectly what happens if you don't. Since I say it all the time, we can waffle until we're blue in the face, you know, about Mikel Arteta needs this and we need that and this, that, and the third. We're not controlling all the controllables, man. Like, I think Kivy needs a loan. I do think we bought Kivy or a season or two too early, but I'm of the belief now in the summer, you've got to go, really. Like, if you were to ask me to break down all of Arsenal's team, right, there's some players, everyone's got a price, so I'm going to sound hypocritical in it, but there's some players that for me would be quote unquote unsellable, untouchable, whatever have you. There's some that's available for the right price. If you're talking my language, I might let you go. And there's some players which you probably need to depart, innit? If I'm keeping it 100, like complete unsellables. And just because I haven't said your name, don't mean I don't rate you. I would say by default, David Raya. I think Raya's a good keeper. I'm not saying you can't improve, but we've got a bag of things to be dealing with. Allow it, innit? If your name's not David Raya, Lewis Skelly, Ethan Nweri, obviously Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, Saliba, Ben White, Timber, Declan Rice, if I haven't said him, I think him. Yeah, like unsellable. Odegaard, I fuck with you. Like, you are my guy. I think we need a next 10 and we need other solutions for when you're not quite at it. But I would say those names, Odegaard's part of what I want him to be part of. Martinelli, you could be available for the right price, but I wouldn't force you out. Tomiyasu, difficult conversations have to be had there. If you're not, I like Tommy. I think you could be part of a squad that's aspiring to win trophies. But if I never see you play, what's the point? Big up Tierney, you need to cut. Big up Nelson, you need to leave permanently. Kai Havertz, we're at where we're at. By default, you're staying. Gabriel Jesus, you could have been a candidate to cut, but you're injured now, and we hope you get better. That's not happening. Trossard, I'd keep you for the squad. I guess what would change my thought would be what's going on with that contract, but I think you'd be okay for the squad, like on the bench and all of that. Like, you need a squad, you could be that. Who else is there? Forgetting everybody. Calafiori, I like you, but next season pattern up. Zinni, you need to go in the summer. Kivior, one love. I don't think you've got it. Moreno, you're here by default, but you need to show me more. Partey, you're probably going to leave anyways. Jorginho, one love, Unks. I don't think you've done anything wrong, but you're going to cut anyways. Who else is there in the team? I think that's about it. Really. With White at left centre mid, we rarely create centrally. Bro, we create our own issues. It's a trade-off. You've got Odegaard having to create, and you've got him. It feels like we're asking, even though Odegaard can do a lot better, you got the burden on Odegaard's shoulders. Not really any link up for him to really make happen. Obviously, that we're playing against mid or low blocks. You're trying to make him create in a way he's not created in his whole season. He looks to his partner is running in behind. The right centre mid's doing his own thing. You got an inverted left back, which obviously Lewis Skelly does well, but there's only going to be so many times Odegaard receives the ball, or even Declan Rice receives the ball, and Lewis Skelly's in front of them. So as much as I like in theory how we're playing, it needs to go against it. There needs to be changes, man. I'm watching the same thing, man. I got time for Trossard, but it's a bench thing for Trossard. I wouldn't say I'm like, I think there's other players that need to go. We're not selling Havertz though. If the offer came in, I'm not gonna cry, but we're not selling Havertz though. Like, unless Bayern or something says, you know what, come back to Germany, we're not going to be in a position like Chelsea, where I think Chelsea spent 70 million on him. We bought him for 65. They probably said, you know what, we're never going to have a better opportunity to shot him. Go over at Arsenal. I know we're making a 5 million loss, but that 5 million, that won us the Champions League in the sense that Kai scored the winning Champions League goal. Arsenal are not going to be in a situation where we spent 65. Someone's going to come and say 60. I do think Havertz has been a better signing than I've made out, than I thought. I still maintain we shouldn't have bought him. I still think, you know, if you go and sign a striker and with Zubamendi coming in, Kai is going to be part of the squad. You don't need to force him out, but that's a problem in its own. Pardon me. And I just don't think you needed to buy Kai Havertz. And I must admit, Mikel Arteta, there's either two things. You've either changed what you want from that left 8 with the people I've seen play there. And I know you're not this silly. Did you think Kai Havertz was a like-for-like replacement for Granit Xhaka? They're two very different players. When we strip back football and start waffling about 8s and 6s and this, anyone that's played Sunday League football at the minimum, you know what a centre mid is. Xhaka is a centre mid. Kai, I'm not sure. You can muck in, but on the ball, you're not what we need. And then you're relying on Odegaard to do even more. Kivior or Calafiori defensively, I disagree. Personally, sell Kivior, Havertz, and Jenko start there. It's harder to improve on Ride than it is on others in the team. You can always make improvements, and with Mikel Arteta's track record, you don't know, but we've got bigger problems than David Raya. Like we've got bigger problems. David Raya has been one of our better players. He saved us enough times. Everyone wants to draw him out. Everyone wants to draw him out because of the penalties, which it was mad diving the wrong way. But when he saved us against United and several times this season, even in the Wolves game, people don't care. And if I'm even honest, I feel sorry for Saliba, Gabriel, and David Raya, because once your team is underperforming, you get into that weird scenario, where for a couple of games, the usual suspects are stinking up the place. But the Timbers, the Gabriels, the Salibas, the Ryas, they're like the shining lights. It's like Yaz is a United fan. It's like, it's very different, but your team's playing rubbish, and Ahmad is one of the more standouts. How long is that going to continue before they're going to look like their teammates? Because I have seen Raya drop off a level. I've seen Saliba drop off, and no one's like, Gabriel has done his thing, but some of the goals were looking mad. The whole team is looking mad. Big up, DG. Shout my members, I'm behind you, but you're right. The only merit for finishing in a higher position other than first is the prize money. We needed some luck to win this league with the transfer window we had. You need a lot of variables that we can't control. And for me, it's as simple as we'd have to near enough be perfect. And even if Arsenal were perfect from this period on, you're asking Liverpool to drop points. And again, as I said in the video that came out at 11:30, this season feels like one of what ifs for me personally. Like, that's all you got is hindsight, innit? Really, it just feels like, what if we did X, Y, Z in the market? What if this one never got injured? What if there wasn't dodgy refereeing decisions? What if we controlled the controllables in those games before it got to the ref decisions? What if we held on to certain leads? Like, that's also a tough thing, man. There's been a lot of kicks in the teeth this season, man. Chelsea, great goal from Pedro Neto, but Chelsea, the Etihad, to a degree recently against Aston Villa. There's a couple still. It's mad. My problem with people who are Arteta in are that people act like there's absolutely no way there's anything better there, or we can't upgrade. And that's what I mean. I think there's different cults. I think there's people that think Arteta is the guy, but they can give you balance and talk about what he's doing well or not. Then you've got the cults, that like the weird cult ones that nothing is his fault. Like, nothing's his fault. It don't make sense, because this is like, realistically, this is the Wenger thing without the football now. You're on course to get top 4. There's enough reasons to be somewhat optimistic, and then there's reasons to be negative, and we just go through a cycle where slowly but surely, week in, week out, the optimism is killed. And then the wickedest thing is, for every negative stat with Arsenal, there's a positive one. So it's just a mixed bag. And that's what annoys me, is like, we've gone from back-to-back eighth place here, and still talking about a lot of these talking points. Some of these talking points we're still talking about, and we're second. So that says there's been progress. But what does it mean if you're not going to, like, even getting over the line is one thing, but make a real meal of it. Like, make it really difficult. Like, this hasn't been one of those Premier League title races so far where, you know, 1 minute Liverpool are top, then Arsenal are top, and then Liverpool drew. What's gonna happen there? Arsenal also drew, and what's going on? Like, it's just chasing packs. Do you really believe we're signing Zubimendi? I'd love to say we're signing Zubimendi, bro, but at the end of the day, until I see Zubimendi holding a shirt, saying he's an Arsenal fan, he grew up watching Thierry Henry and all of these guys, everything is up for debate. And also, that goes for any normal footballer. We've seen this with Zubimendi. 1 minute he's leaving, and then he's staying. I don't know. And even that, I'm all for sign Zubimendi in the summer, bro. Get that done. I'm a big fan of his. But that's summer. Carnival's in summer. I'm looking very forward to that. Right now it's January. I know it's about to be Feb, but right now it's Jan. Salvage the season. What salvaging the season means to me and to you could mean two different things. Because on one hand, salvaging the season is just somehow winning the Prem, winning the Champs, or the League Cup. Again, we know what that's mad. And then on the other hand, it's just, you know what? Just try to finish the season with as many points as you can, innit? Try and do what you need to do in the January market. Really put the plans into place for the summer. And we go again next season. And even that, it's always a next season thing. It's all, unfortunately, love for the super chat, my boy. Again, I wish you had something to say, man. Best of luck to Jesus on his recovery. Best of luck. And, bro, this summer, everybody's going to need to pull their fingers out now. We can't act naive. Like, obviously, there's summer signings that are probably going to take place and the talk start in the summer. But all of the football clubs now, they're talking with people now. They're dotting I's and crossing T's. It's a big summer. We all know what we need to bring in. We all know who needs to leave. We all know the contracts that need to be dealt with. And even looking at the wage bill, like, because obviously we're not going to get Isaac and all these guys. But you'd imagine if you sign these top players, they're going to come with a certain level of wage, and you're going to have to pay that. You got Kai Havertz, he's earning a lot. You're going to have to sort out Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Bukayo Saka's deals. That's not going to be cheap. You obviously, assuming Jorginho leaves, that's probably like 100 odd grand off the wage bill in and around. Partey's a lot more than that. Even a Tierney's on something like that. Nelson's on that. Zinni's on that. We need to get things right, man. Need to stretch, tongue-tied there. Steady the ship. Coming second will make the Cronkies happy. The Rams lost last night. City getting Douglas Luiz is not looking good. I mean, I am jealous of City fans. Like, they're just getting in players. And even the way the City players are talking, they're just saying, obviously, what they're saying and what they're doing is two different things. But, like, they're keeping it true. Like, the title's gone, bro. It is what it is. €1/1 can't say anything on the chat. That's why limited characters for £2 also. Oh, fair enough. I never knew that. Big you up the super chatters anyways, and you lot. Trossard is an unreliable starter. Doesn't work in my dream 25. Trossard's just a rotation option for me, man. I don't think I would force Trossard out unless the contract stuff, again, if he says I don't want to sign a new deal, or if Saudi come and make you a decent offer and you're going to bring in certain attackers, then it is what it is. But I think Trossard can be part of the squad, innit? Like, put Trossard back in the role he initially had before these injuries. You come off the bench, you get an occasional start. That's your thing. Ancelotti available in the summer, DG. I see the rumors, man. I know where this is going, man. All players that need to go are Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard, Kivior, Zinni, Tomiyasu. Havertz. There's too many. Yeah, but even that, as I said, there's very few unsellables. But we're not gonna get rid of 10 man. A next 10 man come into this team, and then we're gonna have to sit there and talk about they need to gel together, all of this kind of jazz. For me, I think what would make us extremely better would be 3 positions. Like, I would prefer an 8. Cool, Arteta. You want 6 in Zubimendi? That's 1. Clearly a striker. Clearly another attacker. And then for me, it's just about marrying the depth, because it's not on. Come on, Arsenal, man. It's not on. Like, even in the summer, even when everybody's fit, we have a small squad. And for me, and I know we're not going to have a 25-man squad. I don't think Arteta wants that. And you have to big up Lewis Skelly and Ethan for even making themselves a part of this debate now. But the numbers are not making sense. Like, you've got about 13 players, like, in the summer, because Ethan and Lewis Skelly, they were about, but they weren't involved like that. You've got 13, 14 players at a push trying to compete in 4 trophies. And it's all fun and games in the first couple of months of the season where you're playing really once a week. You see, when it starts to get 2 games in a week, 3 games in 10 days, now you're getting to see what's going on. And I hate to say this, but we've been owed a Benjamin White and Bukayo Saka long-term absence. Like we've been owed, probably been owed that. Like, and to a degree, others couldn't tell you the last time Gabriel was even missing. Calafury, I don't know what's going on there, but we need to change that, man. Sorry, seen that already. Big up Fam Zone TV, my people. Then make sure you're following them again. Liverpool content, Arsenal content, trench talks. I ain't gonna promote the last trench talks. It is what it is, man. Big up everyone, man. Didn't give a good account of myself, man. But one love. Make sure you're following and all of that, people. If you want balanced opinions, control the controllables is a phenomenal saying that I'll be taking and pretend it was my own. Hey, take it, my guy. Pause. I never invented it. I just heard it. Arteta says it. Arteta says it, man. I just think there's too many unanswered questions with our team, though, man. Like, there's players that I don't think are bad, but again, people, winning a league title, winning a Champions League, getting over the line in the league and FA Cups, I think you need more answers than questions. And I think the only ones that I know are really, really, really with this, if we exclude Lewis Skelly and Ethan, for me, I think Saliba, Gabriel, Raya, Ben White, Rice, to a degree, Partey. I can't say you, Odegaard. I love you, Odegaard. I think you're a wonderful footballer. I can't say you. I do think Kai Havertz has the ability. I mean, the mentality. It's more how you're on the pitch. Pardon me, Havertz is a brilliant squad player, but the 280 a week is silly, but he's a good player and good character to have around, but he needs help. There you have it, man. There you have it. And the saddest thing is Kai's a lot more consistent than a lot more of his other players, really. Like, he's still got 7 Premier League goals. He's still done it for the second half of last season. He stood up to be counted a lot more than a lot of his teammates last year. He's just, I don't know how you're there, man. I don't think we should have bought you. And I think you're providing more problems now. But none of it is your fault, like, if I'm honest with you. Like up the video, let's support the real and best content creators. Zubimendi is quality. I just want us to get an attacking mid. Martinez better than Ryan Ramsdale. That you could debate that. But for me, I'm at where I'm at. I don't know why Arteta sold Martinez and did all of this. I'm cool with Raya. Like, I'm cool with Raya. I don't think anybody was crying for Raya to be signed when Ramsdale was there and he was doing his thing, and it seemed like we had some stability, PFA, team of the year and all of that. But Arteta's the manager. You're paid to see where improvements need to be made when it's not inevitably popular. So I'll give you your credit for that. But then the other end of the pitch, and I think that's been our issue, is it's mad to say as an Arsenal fan, attacking signings have been our worst players or where the talking points. You go back to the early days at the Emirates, like, we couldn't sign a good defender for the life of us. Attackers, boy, and even that with the Odegaard thing, I'm not alleviating Odegaard from any blame because we're in this together, but I remember when there was creativity all over the field, man, where you had Wilshere, Ramsey, Santi Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas, Oud Nasri, all at different points. Anytime it's on one man, there's issues there, man. Obviously, you think of Liverpool, yeah, Trent is the one that is the guy for creativity, but you got Trent there. You've got Gravenberch, who's not going to necessarily get goals and assists, but can make something. You've got Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones that can make something happen. You've got McAllister. You've got Szoboszlai, who I know Liverpool fans aren't necessarily convinced on, but has the element of helping them nick stuff. And then obviously you've got the Salahs, the Gakpos, etc. Even on the best of day when everyone's fit, unfortunately, we maybe not so much this season because Saka's injured now. We know the right-hand side, you lock that up, half the job's done. The left-hand side, it's a bag of... anyone that's in England, you know about them sweets randoms. The left-hand side might be on it one day, they might not be on it the other. Kai Havertz, I think you're just not good enough up front to get us over the line. So we're always going to... If we keep talking about these things, we're always going to be so close. But so far, Semenyo is a 50 million player that seems like an easy target, an easy fit into our system, and a player who's impressing everyone when he plays. No idea why we haven't inquired. Something's missing. To be fair, we don't know if we've inquired. But again, Bournemouth got peas. Bournemouth don't need to sell, man. Like, big up Fams on TV. I was listening to you lots. I can't remember the name of the title of the vid, but you lot were talking about it. You lot were saying, like, kind of like the days of bullying the other Premier League teams are done. Now, of course, if we put the P's down for Semenyo, respectfully to Bournemouth, I think he's going to listen. I'm sure he was even a boyhood Arsenal fan. But Bournemouth don't have a need to sell him. And what if they, like, if you put yourself in Areola's shoes, I might say, like, if I'm Areola to Semenyo, I'll be like, listen, I understand it. I understand why you want to go to Arsenal. We all want career progression, but allow us until the end of the season. If you keep doing what you're doing, not just Arsenal's going to be interested in you. Everyone's going to be onto you. And we know our club operates in a certain way. He might be worth 50 million and we're all on it. The Cronkies or whoever makes the things happen, they might say, nah, you know what? We've only got 41 million to spend. And even that, they're not gonna go for Semenyo for 50 where they're trying to get Nico Williams and all these ones, which is a completely different conversation, as all of you lot know. Jota is quality, except he can't stay fit. And this is the thing, man. Some of these questions, I know it's easy for me as a fan, I know I'm chair expert to sit here and say all of this, but I think Arteta and everyone who's been involved, you lot are too smart for this still to be talking points. Any player we sign, Arteta will ruin them in 6 months. A bit harsh. Let's consider this. Arteta has built a defense that would make George Graham blush. Yes, there are some weak links, but every team has those. Should we get an Ange type attacking manager to get over? No, because Arteta is not naive. I just think Arteta needs a bit of life in the final third. As I said, what I like about Arteta is you're tapped in your head. You think about the opponent more than they probably know themselves. We're in a scenario now where we stifle teams. Teams respect us, whether we show naiveties or not. They're camped in their own half. But for me, Arteta, I feel because of that, it's a trade-off. I feel, how can I make it make sense? It's like, I feel in terms of recruitment, we've made our own issues. And I feel in terms of the tactics, we do as well, because I don't feel we have enough healthy randomness in the final third. Obviously, personnel would be a massive help. I still think there's a hole on that left-hand side. I don't know. Lewis Skelly on that, out of everyone in the last 2 years that's played on that left-hand side, Lewis Skelly has probably been one of those who's given me the most consistency. Rice, you'll always give a good goal of it in the 8, but you're not an 8. Martinelli, got a lot of time for you. You're not a savage in terms of goal scoring. DG, it's summer 2023. You taking Rice for 105 mil, Gravy Birch for 30. Did they go in the same summer? I mean, Gravenberg, you never know, innit? Like, we could have saved money and done something elsewhere. I'm a big fan of Declan Rice, man. I'm no Arteta fanboy, but did he really ruin Martinelli or did we overrate him? I feel some of the tactics have harmed Martinelli, but like Saka, if people could say he's ran Saka into the ground, but if man are saying why are we not saying that about Saka? Why are we not? We're not necessarily saying that about Odegaard. I just think Martinelli's decision making, he's there. Like Martinelli's still getting into the right areas. It's just when you need, it's just that decision, that added quality. Yeah, I probably would have Gravenberch then. I'm not gonna lie, man. Arteta retrained Martinelli as a striker. How many times has he played there? That's comical. I do think Martinelli in his career could do that, but I think you'd pee me off a lot more playing through the middle for Arsenal than you would up front. And even that with Martinelli, like, we're not a team that's going to just fling it in behind. He's running in behind. You need to be able to play with your back to goal. Martinelli ain't doing that right now. He ain't doing that. We also forget to do our job. We have to support the club and keep faith. The players and club reps definitely see a lot of videos creators make. It's our duty to show them we still believe. I just think, and I would piggyback off that and say, it's just be honest. Like, I think a lot of content creators are dishonest. Like, again, I think there's some that have been extremely consistent with the negatives, and I hear that. And I think there's some that's been extremely consistent with the positives. I just feel there needs to be balance. There's positives, there's negatives. We can't sit here and act like everything's on the floor, because it can get worse. It really can get worse. But it is a missed opportunity. We can't act like everything's amazing, because it's not. Like, if it was so amazing, we'd have trophies. If I was a player, I don't think I would take in Arsenal content, but I do agree, man. But we live in a day and age, people want to go viral, they want to do mad stuff and just flip-flop and whatever. The best who's won nothing. Exactly. Win it. Like, that's for me, we can be the best team in 2024 as much as we want. People, man, need to get over the line, man. That wasn't my question, my friend. Do you genuinely believe that, and why? I don't think we're going to win the title, because I'm not seeing it. I see a bunch of good lads who I think are trying, but I don't think you got the dog in you. I think there's that nastiness that's missing. And if we share the screen, Arsenal can still win Premier League. Here is why. I just wanted to skip through this, people, because apparently there was something in relation to injuries. This injury crisis will pass. I hope so, because, boy, who have we got? Apparently, Benjamin White, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Calafiori, Ethan, Saka, and Gabriel Jesus are all currently unavailable because of fitness problems. The attacking injuries are especially deliberating. Against Villa, they had 3 academy players on the bench and only 1 senior forward. Now, you sign up for things like that in the summer, man, if I'm honest. The good news is that the likes of White, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, and Ethan are believed to be nearing returns in the next few weeks. Saliba's injury, meanwhile, was described by Arsenal as a minor before the Villa game. Boy, we need them back sooner rather than later, man. We know Saka's absence is likely to keep him out till March. When is Saliba coming back? There's some rumours he won't be there for City at home. That makes me nervous, man. That makes me nervous. And again, it's not all bad, but it's a missed opportunity. Like you're 6 points off Liverpool. They have a game in hand. And this is all with all the criticisms I have. So imagine if we turned it around. We can only imagine it. I can't see it. But if we turned it around, where would we be? I said it in 2022, 23. I said it last year. And I'm probably wrong because I'm going to say it again this year. It does feel for me, if we don't win the league title this year, we're never going to do it. And I feel a lot less optimistic than I did the 2 previous years. And for me, I'm a fan that I only go off what I see, So if they show me different, you never know. But, weirder things have happened. But I just don't think in Islington we'll be having that. And, the record against the top and bottom 6 shows evident areas of improvement. Again, people, like, the attacking options, especially when Saka's not there. Like, I don't think they're bad players, but there's too many unanswered questions. Havertz is still on course probably to get in and around the same statistics he got last year. But that's saying something. If I'm saying Kai Havertz isn't clinical and he's doing a lot more than his teammates, what does that say? Martinelli's on course to probably better last season on the goal front, but again, is what it is. And if everyone's getting healthy numbers, I'm like, how many potential defeats have Liverpool turned into draws? How many draws have they turned into 3 points? I just need a bit more from everyone, the players, the manager, the recruitment staff, because it does feel for years we've been saying the same things, man. And Arteta is right on this, but I would say in May, nobody cares about the context, because right now we've dropped 12 points from winning positions. And he is right about that. There has been 10 men and all of that kind of crap, but that's not going to fly in May, man. I think every situation is very different. As well, we have come back from situations more than probably before as well. Today, you have to give credit to the opposition. Fair play. And I'm not going to lie, Arteta, when Arteta says something's missing and you're the gaffer, this is now where I get a bit nervous, people. He did kind of, I don't know, like, did you think he's sending shots at the Cronkies? Do you think he's sending indirects at the bench with this, people? They've managed to win. They managed to win against Brentford. He's speaking about Liverpool, and they've made the subs. They made the impact and changed the game. In our side, it was the opposite. But I'm immensely proud of my players. They were outstanding. To be fair, Gaffer, what is Sterling going to do in 8 minutes? Even Raheem Sterling. Respectfully to Sterling, I don't think anyone's excited. At least I left with something though, man. Martinelli in his last 4 starts has 3 goals, people. So maybe he is getting back to his best. Do I necessarily believe that? I don't know. We can ignore all of this, people, because this was just me reading. Arsenal centre-back William Saliba is set to be out of action for the next 2 weeks, according to L'Equipe. Now, that is where I get a bit scared. L'Equipe adds that Saliba will only miss Arsenal's next 3 home games as his hamstring strain requires a 2-week rest period. Saliba will therefore miss Arsenal's final 2 Champions League games against Zagreb and Girona, as well as their away game next week against Wolves. So what's going to be our defence? I wonder if Arteta tweaks things. Because I don't want to see us go to a back 3, but I have thought, are we at the point, Gaffer, where we might have to change something? And what about our back 4? Is he going to persist with, what was it, Partey, Timber, Gabriel, and Lewis Kelly? Or is Calafiori going to come in? You're going to play 2 left-sided centre-halves? Could even Kivior, could he begin to get a look in? I don't know. And even Lewis Kelly, there's a lot of games being put into his legs now. Apparently, Saliba could miss, assuming the City and Newcastle game. So that's Girona, Wolves, and Zagreb. And you got City and Newcastle. And I mean, we need to score some goals at St. James's Park. But to rock up at St. James's Park without Donny, could get scary, man. I don't know if you believe the Cunha stuff, people, but apparently Matheus Cunha's situation is still one to be monitored as Wolves insist to get new deals signed. After verbal agreement 2 weeks ago, there are still some final details to clarify in order to sign. Arsenal have had Cunha on their list for months. More clubs are also attentive. Now, Alex Richard, I don't know what ITK he is and all this. He has said his agent, Cunha's agent, is starting to make a little noise. Suggestion is he fancies there's a gap in the market and is growing keen to exploit it. It may not be there in the summer. Wolves are not interested in selling now, but all have a price and expect new deal to be signed. So we'll have to see. You would have seen yesterday, allegedly, Arsenal exploring a move for Victor Osimhen. And again, people, I don't know if I believe that, man. I just think it's creative journalism. I just feel against Aston Villa, it's another one that raised in question many a thing, but clearly we need a striker. Osimhen, it seems like there's a break clause and all of that kind of stuff. We've been linked with him before. I personally don't believe it, but there you have it. Mikel Arteta says Arsenal are ready to bring forward their summer transfer plans and get a deal done this month. I mean, Arteta has said that. Apparently, Arsenal are weighing up whether to make a £70 million move for Sesko or land a short-term loan deal. Just put the 70 million down if that's the case, man. But again, does Sesko want to leave mid-season? I don't know, people. And yeah, 70 million. They're not going to want to negotiate. Why would you? If think about if you're Leipzig, he's clearly a key player for what you're doing. The striker market's dead, and you've got someone that either this summer or the next one or whatever is going to be sold. Why would you loan him out? Maybe if it's a loan with an obligation, so it's everything but a permanent transfer, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. This is just nonsense from the tabloids. I would love us to go for Ryan Cherky. Apparently, Romano said he's got a verbal agreement with Lyon for a January exit, and he's available at 22.5 million euros. It's a verbal pack with the player, not a formal release clause, but same value as my man reported. I mean, verbal agreements in business don't go far in it, really. Charles Watts has spoken about Zubimendi and said he's a player Arsenal have wanted for a long time, essentially, and Mikel Arteta's had him high up the list. Again, we can't I've covered this already. We can't get too excited, but there's reasons to be optimistic. But until Don's holding the shirt, I don't know. We did see on the 17th of January, Arteta said we lost 2 players, so we'll need to support them. We're trying to find the best possible solution. We're going to try and see what we can do. And boy, man, it's the 20th of January, man. You've got just over a week. A week is a long time in football. You would imagine the club are having some level of talks in the back burners. I'm not saying that for anyone to be optimistic about anything, but surely, because it's not sustainable. Like, we haven't got enough numbers, man. We've been linked with Brahim Diaz of Real Madrid. We're always linked with him. I would love him, but we're always linked with him. He'd be perfect for us, really, especially in January. But we're always linked with him. I don't know if I should believe that. Chelsea target Arsenal floppers January. Wait, what? Chelsea are reportedly eager to sign Nuno Tavares. He's actually been linked with AC and Inter as well, people. I mean, quick profit for Lazio, but I wouldn't. Boy, let Chelsea have him. Because even if you watch him in Italy, he's getting assists and that. He's still not improved defensively. You would have seen yesterday we're linked with Marseille's Wahi as well, probably because he's barely making any noise essentially at Marseille. So it's creative journalism. Vlahovic is a player that Arsenal are not particularly hot on, David Ornstein alleged said in a podcast. And if you've got hope of Partey or Jorginho staying at the club, apparently a decision hasn't been made on either one of their deals. I learned not to argue with plastic fans. I just wait. What did I do? I'm open to getting a better manager, but do you trust the ownership to back the new guy the way he needs for us to win? I just think at best you'd have to be in a scenario like last year where I don't really feel you can get at the Cronkies for why we didn't win the league last year. We missed out by 2 points. Sesko's PR to say we tried, nothing more. Let's roll with it. Let's get a better manager, but that doesn't change our issues up front. But get a proper manager job done. Seems like there's a civil war with Arsenal fans going on. And let's pull it under the microscope. For the money they would have paid for Sesko, is he really the guy to change this season dramatically around? It's a big ask to ask anyone to change things. How many Forest players make our starting 11? Hudson-Odoi plays off that left. Alanga probably gets in. I know it's 2 left-sided centre-halves, but you can make a case of that Murillo guy if Saliba's not there. Yeah, man. As I said, I'm jealous of the way Fulham play, Brighton play, Liverpool play, Forest play. And not even just the attacking football and excitement. I'm just seeing whether players are coming off the bench or starting, they're just all with it and galvanized. And I don't know why we can't do that. L'Equipe also told us Saliba was going to force a move to Marseille a couple of years ago. They did, but surely injuries and transfer news are different. Havertz is like that player in fighting games who becomes anyone. He's a utility tool, not a specialist, and that's what we need. Jack of all trades, master of none, essentially, man. We need new physios and medical staff as our players are injured more than you'd expect them to be. And that's the risk you take, you know. If you don't win trophies, the likes of Saka's, Saliba's, Gabriel's, because I don't think people get Gabriel in the conversation. I'm not saying Gabriel's the best, but we always say, oh, if we don't win trophies, Saliba, Saka. I think Gabriel could do something in that regards. Yo, I know you from Fans Reaction Channel. This is Kalas. Appreciate you, man. Nice to have you here, man. At least I got a shirt on for once. Go speak to them then. Who? I can't make no changes at Arsenal. We had the Saka diagnosis start of Jan and Jesus injured early. Yet it's the 20th of Jan. There's still no signings and effectively out of 3 competitions. Let's just all I can hope is that they're crossing I's and dotting T's. And I mean, I can't see what you're doing. Pardon me, because I'm not at London Coley, but all we can do is hope, man. And accept reality. Reality is in front of me. Nobody knew he's at this club now, so there's no point waffling about that. I am with you, lot. We need signings. I'd love to wake up tomorrow. Isaac, Sesko, this wing, Kudus, this winger, that winger's here, but it's not going to happen. And yeah, the market's difficult and it's hard and you can't make things happen. But I think we've gone past that, man. And I guess, you know what? You know, where I look at Tomiyasu, Calafiori's injuries, and you might even say Thomas Partey because he was an Arteta signing. Maybe there is something we can look at in terms of players getting injured or us signing players that seem to be getting injured. I don't know if it's a thing where we're rushing people back, we're overplaying people because we don't have a big squad, or certain managers injury prone already. But naturally, there's not a single fragment of this football club that we can't look to improve, really and truly. Bar set pieces, and even that defensively they could improve, man. But on that note, though, people, I'm sure you lot like myself don't want to keep waffling about Arsenal. We probably will do a watch along for the Champions League tomorrow. Wednesday, obviously, we're watching Zagreb as usual, whether it's your super chats, being mods, conversations, differences of opinions. I appreciate you lot on the platform, man. Please make sure you subscribe or smash the like button and get on your notification bells and make sure you're following on Spotify, man. Peace.
I think it's like